5 years ago, I was on a journey to Middle Earth. I had a ring, and I was with my friend Sam, and we had to destroy the ring of power. And I was able to do that.
3 years ago, I was trying to start a business sort of like this, but I was just playing it safe. I was afraid of rejection, I was afraid of failure, and I didn't know how to overcome that. So I started looking into some books and some exercises to help me overcome the fear of rejection. And so we're gonna share some of those things that I've done and some of the things that we've learned about today.
I don't think we are. I'm saying no.
You're supposed to share. Mom said.
I'm not trying to reject you, but I'm saying no to you, Glenn.
I reject your rejection.
Oh, that's good. For weekly videos on self-development with a twist of humor, follow the Glenn and Aaron Show every week, Thursday mornings for new content.
The first challenge to overcome rejection is called the eye contact challenge. And this is something that I did to not only build my confidence, but also become more confident with looking people in the eye. Because I came from a family where when we get together, we talk to each other and we talk to each other like this, rather than looking each other in the eye. I was not comfortable with doing that with people for long periods of time. It felt really unnatural. So this exercise goes like this. You go to a public place, like a mall or a library or somewhere where you're out in the open, and your challenge is to look 20 people in a row in the eye without breaking contact. This doesn't mean staring at them and being creepy, just looking at them. And if you're afraid to do this, and they say like, what are you looking at? You can just say, oh, I'm sorry, I thought you were somebody I recognize. Here's the rub. You blinked. Here's the rub. If you break eye contact first, then you have to start back at 0. You gotta get to 20. Now there are some people that just aren't gonna look away, and so you may have to do this. But what this did for me is it really made me unafraid of talking to people and just kind of gave me just a boost of confidence.
I would suggest going to like a biker gang bar.
And if you knock over their bikes on the way out, just go in, turn on tequila on the jukebox,
dance on the bar table,
throw glasses of beer, you're in like Flynn. Tequila.
The second challenge is the cold shower challenge. This is something that I've implemented in my everyday shower experience. Now, I love showers. I love a good hot shower. But what I've learned to do, it's a little bit different than maybe you might hear from other people, but basically at the end of every shower that I take, turn it all the way to freezing temperatures. And the reason why I do that is because I know I don't want to do that. I know my instinct is to not go through that pain. And so if I allow myself to think about it long enough, I'll talk myself out of it. And so I force myself to do that unpleasant task because I want to also force myself to do other unpleasant tasks like doing meticulous work that I don't want to do or anything else like that happens in my life. Asking the girl out is in a lot of the ways the same way as turning that knob and taking a cold shower. So it's been very beneficial for me.
So I do something that's the reverse of that. I turn it on ice cold first. I got this idea from a book called The Flinch, which is a really short read. I highly recommend you check it out. It's one of the books I was reading when I was going on this sort of journey of getting over rejection. The title comes from the idea that the boxer in the ring that flinches when the punch is thrown is the one that's gonna get knocked out. Because your flinch response is to close your eyes and tighten up, and if you close your eyes, your reaction time and your ability to not get hit, it's not good. You have to keep your eyes open, you have to face the fear. And so what I do is I crank it to ice cold and I leap into that ice cold water. Then what you have to do is just stand in it and force yourself to just relax into it, to breathe deep and just tolerate it. It's tough at first, but you kind of get accustomed to it. And that's the key to this whole rejection thing, right? Getting comfortable with what's uncomfortable. Challenge number 3 is ask 5 people at a time. So again, head out to a public place like a library, a store, a mall, something like that. And you're just gonna go up to 5 strangers. And for some people, this is true actually for me sometimes, it can be a little more uncomfortable to go to teenagers and people that are just slightly younger than you. I don't know what that is. Versus going to somebody your own age. Maybe it's just because you're not sure how you'll connect with them or how they're gonna respond to you. But that's all part of this rejection proof therapy. So you just go up to them and you say, I'm sorry, my phone is dead, or I forgot my watch. Don't have your phone in your hand when you ask this. Just say, can you tell me the time? It's very simple, but for some people, it's just hard to go up to strangers. It's just hard to talk to somebody. And this is a real easy way to just get used to going up to people and just talking to them.
All right, number 4 is the Unpopular Voice challenge. This is something that I am stealing from Tom Bilyeu in the Impact Theory podcast, who's talking about being addicted to people pleasing. Always want people to accept you and like you no matter what. And his strategy for that, which I loved, was that he felt like he used to have those same struggles of wanting to please everybody. And so what he would do is he would purposely say something or do something that he knew wouldn't be accepted to basically like just blow it and get it over with. So instead of like trying to always, tiptoe and hope that you're not gonna say anything that's offensive, he would just say something not hurtful or mean, but something that he knew wouldn't be a popular opinion. And then that way, acceptance is already blown if that's what it's gonna take. The example that he gave was he, at that time, was a major rule follower. He had to follow every rule no matter what. So he would purposely park his car in a no parking zone if it didn't make any sense, just because that's what he was going to do. And so he would get a ticket or he might get in trouble, but he was going to force himself to break a rule because he didn't honestly believe in following a rule just for rule's sake.
So one way you can put this into practice is to rob a bank.
It's not even their money. I mean, there's a certain insurance guarantee. You're really stealing from the government, who has been stealing from you this whole time, and then you give some of that money and you give it to the poor.
You're like Robin Hood. You don't even have to wear tights, but you can wear tights if you want to.
And you should, because it's just going to help you. Mobility
It's
factor.
slimming, aerodynamic.
Muscle cramps. We also rob banks. That's our side hustle.
That's actually
side
known as the
hustle.
Aaron and Glenn show.
We reverse the names? Of course. So I get arrested first. Jerk. Officer, it's the Aaron show. I don't know, I'll just help him. Wasn't my idea, officer.
He started it. So what is one way you can actually put this into practice?
I think the next time you find yourself in a group and there is someone, the whole group voices an opinion they all share, I think it's purposely stating your honest and true views if they are opposite, just for the sake of knowing, hey, I can have an opposing view and it's okay.
You don't have to be a jerk about it either. You're
Right.
just stating what your opinion is and you're disagreeing.
Really, the example that I could think of is like being in a group setting. A lot of times that whole like peer pressure, or even when you're an adult, sometimes still happens. And so you have a group that's all sharing the exact same viewpoint, but you happen to have a different one. Typically, I find it's very easy to just not say anything at all and not want to ruffle any feathers. Really, what we're saying is unapologetically share your viewpoint and realize that in the end, it's going to be okay.
People will actually respect you for that, and also help you be a more confident person because you're staying true to what your values are rather than just sweeping them under the rug. I find I have to do this quite a few times because I am a little bit unorthodox in the way that I live and some of my own viewpoints, We did some things that are a little less popular with the way we raise our children. Like we had, 2 out of 3 kids were home births. We were eating different types of diets that people don't eat, and there's certain kind of chemicals we don't use. So we find ourselves in those conversations where we have to kind of say, well, this is the way we do it.
You guys get a lot of flack for keeping your kids in cages at night, but I get it.
They're not going anywhere.
Where's the kids? Oh, I don't know, where we put them last?
It's cool. They got TVs.
They got little iPads.
Little squeaky toy, bowl of water. They're set. Challenge number 5 is to get rejected on purpose. And I learned about this from Jia Jiang. I hope I'm saying his name right. He started a blog where he decided to get rejected for 100 days straight. And it took off, I think, like 3 days in. His first one was really simple. He was really nervous. He went up to a security guard in the mall and he asked to borrow $100. He barely stayed around long enough to hear the response. You can watch this on YouTube. And he just kind of hightailed it out of there. It's kind of weird. I think day 4, he went to a Krispy Kreme. He asked if they would make him donuts in the shape of the Olympic rings and even color them that way. And what's interesting is the woman who he talked to was so excited about this idea. It gave her something out of the ordinary to do that she complied, and she even gave it to him for free, and it blew up and became this big news story. And his blog and everything grew from there. He wrote a wonderful book that I highly recommend. He got more and more comfortable with rejection. He also got better and better at making requests, some of which didn't get rejections as a result. The more outlandish some of his requests were, the less he got rejected. So it actually got harder as he went along to get rejection. He had to force himself into stranger ways of getting rejection.
Hey, can I kill you?
Well, he asked somebody if he could fly their plane, and they went up in the plane and let him fly it.
Wow.
Some crazy stuff like that.
And I bet too, what's so cool about that is I'm sure that, that delivery changed too, right? When you first asked for the $100, the fear, and where after being so comfortable with it, I'm sure that changed how people responded to the request. If this person is being so friendly and nice and so confident with their request, it's amazing how much more you feel like, well, I should probably do that thing then.
Some were so weird, people were intrigued. He walked up to a guy's house who was watching football in Texas. He's from Houston. And Texas, Texans are bigger about their football, and for him to interrupt during a big game and say, hey, would you mind if I take some pictures in your backyard of me in my soccer uniform playing soccer? Would you take pictures of me? That was a weird request.
It's a super weird request.
He got it. So here's how you can put this into practice. It could be something very low stakes. You can go to a restaurant and ask for something that's not on the menu. It could be, you're at a store and you're checking out and you just say, hey, can I get a discount on this, or can I have it for free? It's not that you're trying to get that thing. You're trying to get comfortable with being rejected. So make sure it's something that they just will not say yes to.
All right, G&A fam, so we have a challenge for you with this video then. Out of the 5 challenges that we've just discussed with you, we want you to choose one that you're going to complete in the next 7 days. Do us a favor, also in the comments, write down which challenge you're going to be undertaking, and then if you think about it when you come back, let us know how it went.
If you like this show, please hit the like. And also, if you haven't done so already, please subscribe and put a comment. Tell us what you thought of the episode or anything that you'd like us to cover in the future. Lastly, share this with a friend. Every little activity you do here
sends a signal to a satellite, which is actually cross-perpendicularly channeled with the lasers that run through the grid. Now, the internet's I'm going to try to explain it from scratch. So, the zeros and ones.
There's a man with a tinfoil hat.
The zeros and ones that are
He
being
goes into his
processed.
tinfoil hat. He then tells a man named YouTube, watch the Glenn and Aaron show. That's all you need to know.